Cheers, welcome to my channel. This is beginning of the month for April Tarot Oracle reading. And Libra, you are the star of this astrological insight. If your sun sign is not Libra, we all have a little bit of Libra in us. If you have your birth chart, which house is Libra in, that's where this energy shows up for you. This is a timely reading, meaning if you're watching it at this time, it's the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it's been a while since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then? That could give you further clarity as to your situation now. We're going to begin with the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck. We have the star. So the star energy is talking about, well, first and foremost, you're a superstar if you didn't realize it. And this is you dipping into the pond of the waters of the universe. And your right foot is in, which represents the energy of taking action to put your special qualities that you've been given into this universal pool, and then pour that out onto the ground. And there's 5 streams here. These 5 streams represent the 5 points on the pentacle, the element of earth. So it's about bringing your special qualities, mixing it in with the universal soup, and then pouring that out onto earth. This is your North Star, the big star here, and this represents that you are following your destiny, your North Star path. So that's all good. And now we're going to get the underlying energy for the internal forces. So the internal forces, it looks like there's an energy of lovers here. And so the lovers card represents a divine couple coming together. The sun is representing God sending this in, basically. And we have the cloud between them. Represents that possibly you don't know this person yet. Or if you do know them, you might know them from your past. But there's someone that you have not had a relationship with, an intimate one with. All right, we are going to see so this is the internal forces, the underlying energy. And we have the 5 of swords to begin with. So there's some sort of conflict going on here. This represents, sometimes this can represent cutthroat energy, like really, even the clouds in the sky look like they've been ripped, you know. And so this person has already battled 2 people, and he's like, come on, I'll take on a third, but you're not taking from me what's mine. And that's the energy. Sometimes this can also talk about an inner battle, because the swords represent the energy of your mental intelligence, your discipline of the mind, and your thoughts, basically. And so this can represent you and 3 different versions of you. So it can represent your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is developed by the time you're 6 or 7 years of age, and that's based on your environment when you're a baby and forward. Babies are like sponges. They suck in the information from their environment, and also the thoughts of the people that are put in charge of their care. Those are heavily imprinted on us when we're, between those ages of newborn and about the time we start kindergarten is when we start having more memories of that. So really our subconscious mind is made up of our environment when we were young and the thoughts of the people who were put in charge of our care. And lots of times we can't remember it, so that's what we have to rely on. And yet our subconscious mind, when we get triggered, that's the one that we go to first. And so there's the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind is the needs of your soul. And from your soul's perspective, as a human being, your perspective, a lot of people will say, yes, I'm a human being and I have a soul. Having said that, from your soul's perspective, you are a soul traveling in a human body. And this is your vehicle for getting around planet Earth. If the soul's needs are not met, eventually the unconscious mind can become quite loud. And then we have the conscious mind, and that's what he has his handle on. This is, hey, I've just been there, done that, and I have a memory of it, and this is, my conscious actions. I know exactly what that is. And so if those 3 minds are not in agreement, it can cause a lot of back and forth conflict within yourself when you're making decisions. So the best way to get your mind disciplined is and have it work for you. Your mind should be working for you, not against you. And the best way to do that is to go inward and meditate, or get in a position where you're aware of what's going on inside of you and calm that mind down. And then if you plug your mind into your heart, into your authentic desires, that's when you start manifesting, like at this level here. So perhaps you've been working on that. This is a transition coming in. The death card, quite often people are afraid when they see this, the Grim Reaper coming in. But it very rarely means an actual physical death. What it means is there's some sort of transition going on. And the transition is regarding, it can be rebirth. So the flag that the Grim Reaper is carrying here represents the light at the end of a tunnel. So you may have been going through a challenging time, and now it's saying, hey, eventually you will be in a place of knowing and light again, and you will feel better about this situation. And this is the energy. The older person here is bartering with the Grim Reaper, like, we don't want your change, but the one thing you can count on is death, taxes, and change. Change is the only constant we have, yet we fear it. We're changing every second of every minute of every day, though. And then these younger people are like, the little one has a flower in his hand, and this represents, no, we want the change. We want, we want to have new to look at. And so this energy, we have, again, the sun in the background here between these two pillars. And it's, wherever the sun is shining, that is representing our destined path and God's energy. We also have a king here who's trampled. But the king, it represents a lot of the time, we are seeing this definitely in the world right now, but it's not an actual king being trampled. It's talking about systems that have been put in place for ages, are starting to crumble, and the cracks are showing. And that's what's happening on the world right now. We've got a lot going on in the news with the world, and this energy is is happening. We had for the first time in the history for I think it's been 3 centuries, where someone in the monarchy was actually arrested in the UK. And this is like a big deal, because a lot of people thought, well, that would never happen, no matter what they did. Like, they would not, justice doesn't apply to them, and it clearly does. And so this energy is talking about keeping in mind that there's no charges been laid, just an arrest at this point. And that's the energy right now on the planet. There's a lot of that energy, and so it's really important that you do your fact checking and you understand that, because there's so much AI out there and all this other energy. And tomorrow we have a full moon, and that full moon is on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because there could be some trickery happening early tomorrow morning, and then you'll be like, oh, and don't get all worked up, and then realize, oh, it was an April Fool's joke kind of energy. Which, of course, for it to land on a full moon is, and at this time in the world, like, we really don't need it, but I guess it's just an added element to deal with. Just be aware of that, though, Libra, especially because this moon is in your sign. And so you're going to feel this mood more intensely than a lot of people, and we quite often will feel the full moon energy 3 days before and after it's here. So it's already out there. So if you're feeling kind of out of sorts, recognize that. We have the 2 of Wands, and the Wands represent the element of fire and taking action. And so this is about being passionate about something. This generally is saying that this person is standing at the top of their turret and they're looking over their domain. They've been successful. They've planted a wand here, and it's quite often for me this represents the energy of an entrepreneur who has been successful in their business and they're considering expanding. It could be also being passionate about someone with this Lover's card and wanting to expand in that way. They have the world, a globe in their hands, and this is representing, hey, I've got the world in my hands. But they realize that they're actually a big fish in a little pond. If they were to expand their horizons and move into a bigger location, like with more people, they would then be a small fish in a big pond. And so, but this is thinking about, okay, I'm ready to take that leap, and considering if I do take it, how best to take it. Sometimes this could represent the energy of like franchising, or setting up another location in your business, or expanding in a different way. Or perhaps you are ready to settle down and get married with this Lover card here, and you want to start a family and expand in that way. We have the Seven of Swords energy coming in here. So the Seven of Swords is representing the energy of the shift disturber. And so the shift disturber stirs the pot. This can be about innovative thinking, and so sometimes it's not immediately a card that you need to be concerned about. It's more about having a more playful attitude. But on the other hand, it's a walking contradiction. This person is a walking contradiction. He's looking backwards at these two swords he planted, and for some reason he is sneaking off with these other five. He, he's in broad daylight. He's not. It's not like, if he's a thief, he's not a thief in the night. He's a thief in broad daylight. So that would imply, white collar crime, generally to do with money, and there's all sorts of white collar crimes to do with money, like laundering and identity theft and forgery and those sorts of things. But he is looking backwards, and he's moving forward, and he's not looking where he's going, and he's on his tiptoes. He could trip very easily, and look how he's holding the swords. Like, who holds swords like that? Like someone that doesn't care, basically. Like, he doesn't even care about his own safety. So, it doesn't make me feel confident that it's someone that I would trust, my own safety with, because clearly, if he trips, he could lose his hands. Like, these are sharp swords. Nobody carries swords like this. It's really weird. And so this energy, he's a walking contradiction. We don't know what he's up to. I say, if you see this energy coming near you, to make sure that, if there's any contracts or agreements or anything like that, you make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's, and, be very careful what you trust to this person, because they have a different way of thinking from the norm. And this is the Hangman. And so the Hangman is hanging from the tree of knowledge, and he's hanging there upside down because he wants to gain a perspective from a different angle. And so he's looking at a problem or an issue that he's doing his best to solve here, and he's looking at it from all different angles. And upside down is like the opposite of straight up, so it can be really helpful. If you do know what you don't want, then you can usually do the opposite, and that would be what you do want. So it's that kind of energy. And when he's ready to take action, he'll come down from the tree of knowledge. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles is representing, here you are on this bench, and you're in an elevated position because people are recognizing this energy of you being very successful, and willing to fight for what's yours also. Like, it's not like you're a patsy or anything like that. And people are noticing like your leadership skills and your ability. And maybe in the past, you weren't in this energy, like where you're in an elevated position. But now you are in this elevated position because people are noticing your good work, and they want to collaborate with you, which is good news. Having said that, you have to be very careful who you collaborate. That's this shifty shift disturber energy here. You have to be careful who you collaborate with, because you're in an elevated position. Quite often this can represent someone who does have a star quality. In entertainment, the entertainment business, the actors, actresses, musicians, those kinds of energies. That there's history is rampant with situations where these people have been breadcrumbed by people that sign them up, and then the contract is not, it's not a, I thought my dishwasher was done its cycle, but apparently it's going to be noisy here for a second. I apologize. The energy here is when you know, you end up making way less money than you should, and you're stuck in this contract, and other people are getting rich off of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's also about lifestyle. Like, you know, you may sign a contract and someone wants you to work like 80 hours a week, and you just got married and maybe have a baby on the way or whatever, and you don't want to work 80 hours a week, you want to work 40 hours a week. And so it's that kind of energy. This can also represent, you know, like professional sports people, you know, and maybe you have scouts coming, and, you know, maybe 4 or 5 different teams are vying for, you know, you to come on their team. And some, you know, one might pay way more than the other, but they're in a location you don't want to be in. So it can be that kind of energy, making sure that you are the one that is, that they're in alignment with your goals, not the other way around. Otherwise, you end up being in a situation where the very quality that attracted them, you're not able to have control of anymore. And like, for instance, this person does beautiful stonework, and you know, this energy, sometimes this card for me represents a secret society energy. And the thing about secret society energy is they have a group that's more important. The group is more important to them than the individual. And so when you sign up with them, there's all sorts of rituals in the background, like in handshakes, and they have their own ways of doing things. And when you sign that contract, you're signing up for all that, and you may not even be aware of it at the time. It's really important. This card and this card are both saying, and this one actually, are saying, make sure that you dot your I's, cross your T's when it comes to contracts. Get a lawyer to look it over. Make sure they know that they're in that line of work, whatever business you're signing up for, that your lawyer knows what they're doing. Make sure that the contract is in alignment with your goals. Otherwise, and you know, it's good energy. When people start noticing your good work, that's awesome. We have the identity and self-image here. So you do feel like there's a lot of conflict around you, and you have your guard up for sure. And then this is talking about this transition, is you also can feel like you're in a place where you could move into a more abundance in your life. So this is talking about being aware of this energy, so that's good. The communication in your early life, you may be in a center where you were raised or close by, you know, that kind of energy. And it's very rare to be a hero in your own hometown. So sometimes you have to leave your comfort zone to be able to expand, you know, to get into the next level of business. And so I feel like you're aware of that. And then this can be your emotional foundation. So, you know, this could even be family members or friends, you know, that you grew up with or whatever, and they're not used to you being in this energy. Maybe you were a bit of a pushover before, and they're, you know, when this kind of energy happens, don't expect, like, we have expectations, oh, our friends and our family are going to be so happy for us. No, sometimes they really don't like it because they liked you better when you were more malleable. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, energy behind that. It's not something that you need to necessarily take personal, which may sound weird, but if you, it's just kind of the way it is. It's the way life is. And as you mature, you start to realize that people that you thought were going to be really happy for you when you're doing well aren't necessarily going to be really happy for you when you're doing well. It's a thing. And then this is creativity, romance, and children. So in this position, I feel like you're expanding in business, but you maybe also have a lover that you're interested in being with. Now, this is someone new coming into your life, and the sun is shining on it, so it does mean like that, you know, God's behind this. So, you know, but you have to be careful with that energy as well when you're signing contracts or whatever. It's just being, saying at this time, while you're making this transition, that you really want to be in a position where you know what you're signing. It just keeps coming up. Know what you're signing, know where you're headed, know if it's in alignment with your goals. So the external forces, yes, because this is coming up. The external forces could end up being very heartbreaking if you don't. Like down the road, you might have a lot of regrets about what you sign up for. And so this, of course, is a disturbing card. There's 3 swords in someone's heart. But having said that, when you look again, you realize the heart is actually quite large and in context with the size of the swords. So it's, you know, it's more like pinpricks or nails, I guess. Bad enough, but it's not, you know, it's maybe something that you will recover from it if you're feeling, I'm never going to recover from this heartache. And so this is something we want to avoid, of course. This can represent, because the heart's in the throat here, it can represent, you know, a lot of gossip and slander, backstabbing energy. You know, people, these swords represent our thoughts, and our thoughts are expressed through words. So this could be, you know, written and verbalized words. So there could be some harsh words that have been said. You might already have a lover here in this position, and because sometimes this represents a third-party energy that comes in between a couple, and there is definitely conflict around you. So this card, it can mean like a heartbreaking decision has to be made. Now, it's hard to see this as a positive, but when you look at it, and I explained about the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind, this could say, hey, you're plugged into your heart's desires now. And you got over the heartache, whatever there was there, and it is now, you know, you've healed in this way, and you're ready for a new lover. So that's the energy I feel that you're in. This is talking about your external forces. So when you're the internal forces, you know they're internal because you'll be asking, what if I say this and they do that, or what if they do that and I have to do this? That kind of energy. And, you know, the woulda, shoulda, couldas of life. And then the external forces are more like, what the EF happened? An external force came in and like, like the cycle on my dishwasher. All right, we have the Page of Wands coming up here. So the Page of Wands is representing, well, oh goodness, that's a way of clearing energy for sure. So some sort of external force energy, like all of a sudden it got noisy and all discombobulated here. Those are external forces. That's an example right there, how external forces can all of a sudden shift the energy. This is, the pages represent communication coming in. Pages would work for the king and queen, generally quite young, from the age of 7 to 14. They would come from the surrounding families. Goodness. Sneezing really, like I don't know what's with the sneezing all of a sudden, but it's a way of clearing energy. So I feel like there's some energy coming towards you that is quite intense actually. And yeah, you might want to clear it, like really take a look at it and see, like there's a reason why you're feeling this way. Trust your intuition. That's what I'm getting with this energy. It just feels a little bit wild. So here we have the page. I was explaining about the pages. They would work for the king and queen and come from the surrounding families. And, you know, the Page of Wands represents an exuberant, youthful person under the age of 21. If he worked for the king and queen, his main job would be, you know, just running communication back and forth within the palace walls, and maybe other small tasks, and then you know, graduating to more difficult tasks as he got older. And if he was still, when he was 21, if he was doing really well at that and he could afford a horse, he might be considered even for knighthood. And then he would be traveling far and wide, delivering messages, you know, throughout the kingdoms and protecting the palace, etc. So this Page of Wands, his element is the element of fire and taking action. And it's not necessarily someone that is that age, but it's that feeling of that age. So this is someone who's really enthusiastic at life. He's well dressed. He's, you know, the pyramids in the background here represent someone who loves to explore, and, you know, knowledge, always looking for a new angle, that kind of energy, just like the Hangman here. The thing about the Page of Wands is you think of a young man, and his element is the wand, and the wand is made of wood, and it's all about passion. And he is looking at his wand, and you can see he is admiring his wand. He really, really admires his wand. And so a lot of the time he's thinking with his little head instead of his big head. So you have to take what he has to deliver with a grain of salt. Sometimes it can be a little, especially because this is coming in the position of commitment, marriage, and partnerships. So this could be about business, but a business commitment, as well as it could be about a lover commitment. And then we have reconciliation. So yes, this past energy keeps coming up. So the past energy, when we have reconciliation, it would imply that there needs to be some sort of forgiveness of some sort. And that's what this card also represents, is forgiveness and also healing. And so healing the past. And this energy, in context with the other cards here, can represent a situation. This could represent, sometimes it's a reunion, so being back with people from, your when you were in elementary school or high school, it could be a reunion, or maybe you went back to visit family and run into someone that you haven't seen in years, since you were in elementary school or whatever. This can quite often represent needing to... Stop, Stella. Yeah, there's some weird energy because I was not I was not stuffed up at all when I started this, and I'm stuffed up and I'm sneezing all of a sudden, and there's this weird, it's just some energy needs to be cleared for sure. It's almost like a heaviness from the past. And so there could be something that happened in your childhood that you need to clear here. And it might be, your subconscious mind, as I said, is imprinted on you at an early age. And it could just be something that you don't know about that happened when you were younger. And maybe that is coming out now or something like that. This represents, as I said, reconciliation would imply that you need forgiveness. You could forgive someone and not reconcile with them, though. Just because you forgive someone, forgiveness is for yourself. It's so that you don't carry the burden of the energy of what happened anymore, and you let it go. And you let the person that was involved deal with their end on their end. But this is saying there's some sort of reconciliation. This could be reconciliation of something that happened when you were younger. When you first glance at this card, you... think, oh, these kids are playing in the yard with these potted flowers and there's someone watching over them. But then you look again and you realize this is a gnome and this is a little woman. And, this little woman, when you look at her from the front, she looks young. But when you look at her from the back, she looks like an old hag. She's got this white mitt on her hand here, saying that she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. She doesn't want to take this pot of flowers. The old hag says, get lost. We don't want your flowers. They're not even yours anyway. She's ready to walk off. And the younger woman, she still hasn't learned to stop people pleasing. So she's going to explain herself as to why she doesn't want the flowers and just saying, I don't want them. And these flowers, they're very pretty, and white flowers in tarot mean innocence. But these flowers are not innocent. These flowers are actually from the nightshade family. The technical name is Datra, and they are actually highly toxic. If a child was to ingest them, they could become very sick. So you would never even put these in pots and have them around children or your pets, because they're toxic enough that they could make them really ill. Sometimes shamans use Datra to create visions in ceremonies for adults, and they know what they're doing, so they know the right dose. But you wouldn't let children play with these flowers. And then the person that's watching over them in the background, when you look closer, they're actually walking away down the path. They're not looking at all. So there's some illusions, I feel, from your past. And it could be with a past lover with this third-party energy as well. and the conflict, that all happening here, and the passion. So we're just going to, this is in your card, this is the House of Transition. And so secrets coming out, transition, that kind of energy. So I do feel that there's something from your childhood and maybe possibly from a past lover. We just had Mercury was just in retrograde, which means that communication goes awry for a while. And it just, about 10 days ago now, I guess, Mercury moved back into it's direct and it's moving forward. So communication is a lot more clear. And maybe there's just been an opportunity that came up for you that you could clear something up from your childhood, or you need to do some inner child work on yourself so that you can clear this energy up. Otherwise, we have a tendency to repeat the same energy in every relationship until we work through it. This is the energy of being a leader. This is victory. This is an awesome energy. This is saying that the actions you've taken have put you in a leadership role. Clearly, there's a lot of people interested in your work, etc., and you're successful. And this is saying even the people that are maybe disgruntled in the back there, that maybe also were vying for that position. Maybe it was a position at work or something like that, or after the same lover or whatever. They have to admit that you are clearly the leader. And you know, you can see this is victory. This person is sitting very proudly on their horse, and their horse, they're reining in the reason they're in this position is they have learned to rein in their emotions and to avoid conflicts with people that they don't need to get into. And so this is saying, this is in your higher learning. I feel like this is an energy saying that you have learned, maybe you have been a hothead a little bit in the past, and you know, you get into conflicts that you don't need to, and now you've learned not to do that. You only fight when you really need to fight. We have the sun coming in. And so this is the happiest card in the deck, and it's representing this energy here again. And you see this banner that this young child is carrying. He's carrying this banner with ease, and he's totally fearless on this pony. He's like, hey, no hands, you know, no saddle. He's just very comfortable. The sunflowers in the background represent all the happiness. They're turning with the sun. And this is saying this is your natural character, and this is the star energy, that you were born to shine and you were born to be happy. This card reflects happiness on the rest of the reading, so that's really cool. You know, that you're ready to shine. That's basically what this is saying. You're ready to shine. And sometimes when you're ready to shine, the people around you might feel like you're behaving differently, which you probably are. And maybe you were always kind of the odd person out. In this card here, it represents being left out in the cold. And so sometimes this card can represent this energy, tactics being used to put you in this position because you wouldn't sign up, or you did sign up and then you didn't follow the rules. That's, you know, that kind of energy. So these are tactics. You know, the snow represents flakes, you know. We can all handle a flake or two, but when a whole bunch of people get together and they gang up on someone, then it can cause, you know, going after your reputation and all of that. If that has happened, if your reputation has been tarnished, because this is in your career and reputation, basically, God is shining light on that. So this is an energy when these people are left out in the cold. This one doesn't even have shoes and they're in snow. And this one's on crutches and they have a bell around their neck. In the old days when the plagues came around, they didn't have apps, so they would just tie a bell around someone's neck. And when they came into town, if they made, you know, they were forced to wear it, people would run and get away from them, which made it kind of hard to earn a living. And so it's kind of that energy where you're the community puts you in a position where you, they do everything in their power to ruin your reputation. And and they get together to do it. And we can all handle a flake or two, but when there's a whole bunch of flakes, it can collapse our house. And so this energy is talking about that energy of being left out in the cold or feeling left out in the cold. A lot of times if you were meant to be a star, you're not meant to blend in, you're meant to stand out. But I feel that this card is saying that, you know, I'm from Canada, and in the prairies, the winters can last like 4 or 5 months sometimes, and there's like dog owners that don't clean up after their dogs. And in the spring, when the snow starts to melt, oh my goodness, like it starts to melt, and the smell, it's not like the fresh air of spring. It's like really, really, really bad. And there's layers and layers of shift that they haven't picked up throughout the winter. And it's not frozen anymore. So it's and this is exactly, you can smell it for miles, and they even have companies that will, you can pay them to come clean up your shift for you. So it's really interesting energy. And the sun, God is saying, don't worry if your reputation has been tarnished. The sun is shining light and is melting the snow, and when the snow melts, what they've done to you or tried to do to you will be exposed, just like the dog shift. It'll be very public. People won't, the people will smell it for miles, that kind of energy. They might have to hire a company to come clean it up. That's the energy. Funny. Okay, so we have, and the disappointment in love. So this is saying, this new love, I feel like this is saying after the disappointment, and definitely there was some disappointment to do with the lover, but I feel like what God is saying is it's going, this new lover will come in after all of this is settled. Be careful about taking someone back from the past. You know, people tend to show you who they are the first time around. And so this represents like there, you know, there's 3 cups here instead of 2. And that can represent this third-party energy, or just having 3 different relationships that didn't turn out well. Or maybe someone is coming in from your past and you gave them 3 chances and they're saying, I want another chance with you. And you're like, hell no. 3 strikes, you're out. I'm waiting for this new energy to come in. And I feel like the Libra energy, you know, it's about justice, and the scales of justice are a big part of the glyph of your sign. And this is saying, like, you're mature enough to understand what this kind of contract means. Like when you get into, and if you're with someone who's a bit like in this energy and still wants to play around, and you're in the energy where you want to settle down, you'd be better off putting your energy into your career right now, is what's coming up. Because you know, you have a lot of potential here to be really successful. And let this situation heal and then move forward. That's it. That's definitely the energy I'm picking up here. You're going to have a lot of options. Just be careful that you don't throw them away right now. That's the energy that's coming up. So if you're leaving the reading now, that's good. I had enough. Thank you for your time and energy. Please give it a like and comment if you enjoyed it. It does help me build my channel. I really appreciate it. And also, consider subscribing. You're more than welcome. And for those of you who want more clarification, let's go here. We're going to use my Oracle, Tales from the Vector, TAILS. And I started this back in 2007, and in 2020 I completed all the paintings. I'm an artist, so I had a lot of fun with it. It's from the Intergalactic Federation of Light. There's some very big dragon paintings, like about 30 of them, that I did, and there's crystals and all sorts of energy. It was I have a lot of information written out, but now that I have the deck complete, I want to play with it a little bit and just see what it's like in action, and then I'm going to add to that information and put the booklet out and get it out there. I'm taking my time because I want to make sure I do it right the first time, and then I'm not looking back and going, there's all this other information once I started playing with the cards. The numbers on these cards represent the numbers of the paintings as they're listed in my gallery on my website, talesfromthevector.com. I will put them in the order they appear here, and then you can take a look at them if you're interested later. So the Wheel of Fortune is turning. So this is awesome. When the Wheel of Fortune comes up, it's saying that luck is on your side, and you can that things are moving forward. The wheel has started to turn in your favor, and that good fortune is coming into you. We have a scotoma. So this is talking about, I do feel there's something from your childhood that maybe you're, excuse me, I can't believe how stuffed up I am. It's almost like someone's been crying and crying, that kind of energy. Like, just, I feel like I've been crying for days, and I haven't. So I'm like, why all of a sudden? But it's this energy here. And definitely there was some sort of blind spot when it came to a lover. And maybe this is someone that you really felt, wow, like this is it. And you couldn't see something about them. And so that's what the scotoma is. It's when, you can't see it, but everybody around you could see it. And everybody was talking and laughing behind your back because this person, they knew what they were doing. And these are friends and, family members even maybe that didn't tell you. And then it also can be something that you see that others don't. And so maybe you see something about this person that you really, you can see how that they're a good person. They just have some, it could be from their childhood, some weirdness about them or whatever. And so this energy, basically it boils down to, I feel like I'm starting to come to the conclusion, love is blind. It's not just a saying. And it's just the way it is, Otherwise, maybe we would never get married ever at all. And now this is the Hangman. So yeah, this is saying, in the past, I feel like you would get into conflicts that you didn't need to, and now you've learned not to do that, not taking action until you look at it from, and that's a really good place to be. You don't want to be all impulsive and then fighting, you might have even been fighting for this lover, to protect their, how dare you say that about them, and then find out, oh my gosh, it was true. We have the Sagittarius energy here, and this is about transition and wanting that adventure. I want to point out that when my horoscope signs come up in a general reading like this, my intention is not to designate individuals. This is an energy of each of the signs. Most of us have most of the signs in our birth chart. So we can learn from all these energies, and we can learn, the more we learn about different people, the more we're able to have, more ability to communicate in a better way with them. And so this is about the state of being of each of the signs, and sometimes the stage of life they're in. And Sagittarius is about world travel. This energy very much. It's that kind of energy, wanting to explore and having a real enthusiasm and passion for life. And then this is the High Priestess energy. This is use your intuition. Like the High Priestess, especially at the cycles of the moon like we have right now. This is the High Priestess energy is talking about, being highly intuitive and using that intuition to make choices, using your intuition and your logic together so that you can have creative solutions. And then we have the Pisces energy, which is talking about Neptune actually just moved from Pisces at the end of February. And it was in Pisces for 14 years. And it's significant because Neptune is the planet, it's a very big planet, and it does have a huge effect on us. And so 14 years it was in Pisces, and now it moved into Aries energy. And we have the Libra full moon here. And it just so happens that this Libra full moon, the energy opposite Libra is Aries. And so Aries is, Libra is like, let's compromise. And Aries is self-assertion. And it's like, I don't think so. I want my way or the highway kind of energy. And Aries is the infant of the zodiac, the very first to come in, firstborn. And the energy, their glyph is the ram. And it's because their energy can be really rammy. You think about a baby coming in, they come in head first. And so that's the energy. And Aries is ruled by Mars, and that's a more aggressive planet. So for 14 years, the way that our idealism was around relationships, etc., how we approach life was more, a little bit more dreamy and more idealistic. And in Aries, it's like, what does this have to do with me? And we just had 6 planets move into the sign of Aries in the last while, and it's caused a big change in new, everything new, but like a lot more assertive and aggressive energy. And Venus, in charge of love, just moved into that energy. So it wouldn't be uncommon for people from your past coming in and, hey, let's give it another go here. And, you know, generally people do show you who they are the first time around. So be careful with that energy. That's what's coming up. And because it is directly opposing this full moon energy, and this full moon energy is about compromising with your significant others. You see the dilemma here. So you want to make sure, and with all those new planets in the sign of Aries, and hey, Uranus is moving in there soon as well, but we don't even want to talk about that in this reading because that's a whole new ball of wax. So this is saying be aware that the energy is not just shifting for you, it's shifting all around for everybody. It's not common for 6 planets to move into the same sign like this. It doesn't happen very often, and especially when Venus on March 6th moved into the Aries sign as well. It's affecting the love relationships. And so worldly and otherworldly desires is a karmic space. So this is, you know, some people, they care more about money than they do about their spirituality. And some people care too much about their spirituality and not enough about making money. You know, there has to be a balance here, because you are on the 3rd dimension. You do need to navigate through it. The sun is coming in and shining on this situation to make sure, like, if in the past maybe you have signed something and that's the conflict you are in, and this is just God coming in again from over here saying, this energy will dissipate, don't worry. Their shift is, the snow is melting. That's the energy. The smell is starting up. And then this is having the integrity to deal with this energy and the strength. And that is about, you know, facing your part in it, what you could do differently, and then understanding and looking at the situation clearly. Temperance is about being devoted to your path, which is the star energy. When you stay in this energy and you're on your destined path, then you're going to be rewarded for that. And God's reward is, an everlasting reward, whereas sometimes these temporary situations from other people that are, you find out after, what was I thinking, you know? Yeah, there could be abuse of power going on. That happens. It's a karmic space a lot of times, because hey, think about it. If people don't have any power and all of a sudden they have it, they don't have any practice yet. So, sometimes the abuse of power is just through ignorance, and sometimes it's intentional. And then justice coming in. So this is on your, this abuse of power is on your transition here. So I feel like there definitely was, possibly this energy has to do with this energy, I feel like. And then this is, justice is coming in, and you have to, you learn from it. Now, justice is also redemption from karma. And that a lot of people think, oh, karma is punishment, but karma is actually cause and effect for your actions. So justice is a two-edged sword. So justice for one person is a real pleasant experience, and for people that have been on the other side of it, it could be really challenging and difficult, but that's because of their actions, not punishment so much. Foolhardy, yes. If you go, when in doubt, pray or go inward and speak to source energy, and you can anticipate your journey then. You're doing your best to be in that position. The Empress energy is on top of this energy here. And so it's talking about everything that you've learned from this situation. Like if you've been put out in the cold and you've been isolated and your reputation is tarnished and all that, because it depends on how you handle that energy. That this is saying you're now back into like a much higher vibration because you've learned from it. And that's our goal on the planet. People often, oh, what's my purpose? Your purpose is to be the best version of you that you can be. And every time you face difficulty and you still manage to somehow stay on your destined path, you're rewarded and your vibration becomes higher. And then the people that you attract become of a higher vibration as well. So it works out in the end, and it's just, the energy. And so the last card out is saying falling and failing in love is a matter of I. So there's 3 cards that wanted to come out, but I feel this is the one that is jumping out. And this is because we have the God judging this situation and stepping in. We also have the unfettered heart chakra here. And this is saying, hey, falling and failing in love is a matter of I. Because if your heart is closed and you don't let it heal, then how are you going to attract someone who truly loves you if you don't have an open heart? And so it's better right now, I really feel, Libra, in your case, if you're not ready for love, pour all that energy into your career right now, because your career energy is super strong. And be careful of people coming in from the past that want another chance, because you may find that, it drags your energy down rather than lifting it up. That's totally up to you. Use your intuition. Every situation is different. I'm just saying generally people do show you who they are the first time around. All right, I do hope you've enjoyed this. Please give it a like and comment if you have, and consider subscribing if you resonate with the channel. I really would be honored if you did so. I will be back with another reading. The next one will be reading regarding the middle of the month energy. Bye for now, Libra. Sorry, Stella, I have to wake you up.